Hello. Today we're going to talk about slope. Now slope can also be known as rate of change. But basically, slope is rise over run. So it's a ratio between how much the line goes up compared to how much it goes over. If you have given a couple points, the change you're looking for, the change in x, or change in the y coordinate over the change of x coordinates. So say I'm given a couple points, 3, 6, and negative 3, 2. You can find the slope of the line that connects these 2 points by taking the y from the second value, which is going to be a 2, the y from the first value, which is going to be a 6, and subtracting them, putting that over the x from the second one, which is a minus 3, and the x from minus the x from the first one, which is a positive 3. Now when you solve these together, you'll get 2 minus 6 is a minus 4, and minus 3 more is going to be a minus 6. We can reduce that. A minus minus is a positive, and then divide both 4 and 6 by 2. We can simplify this down to 2/3. So the slope that goes through 3, 6 and negative 3, 2 is a slope of 3, 2. That means rise 2 and run 3. So rise 2, run 3, rise 2, run 3. Every point on that line will rise 2 and run 3. So say I'm going to graph a line. Sorry. Say I'm going to graph a line. We're going to put it into this standard slope-intercept form. Now, slope, the letter in this, even though it starts with S, actually is M. M is the slope. So if I have a slope of 2/3, I'll put in 2/3 in that slope spot. So I'm going to write an equation. Y equals 2/3 x plus, how about 4? So if I write an equation like that, I can graph this. Now, in slope-intercept form, the plus 4 was our slope, our y-intercept. So we'd go up 1, 2, 3, 4 right here and graph it. Now, how to graph this line with our slope? If it's 2/3, we're going to start from that point, and we're going to rise 1, 2, and run 1, 2, 3. There's a point on our line. We can do it again. Rise 2, run 1, 2, 3. There's another point. Rise 2, run 1, 2, 3. And we'll get the general idea. In fact, if we want to, this 2/3 even equals the same thing as a minus 2 over a minus 3. So if we wanted to use this and say if we're going to go down 2 and backwards 3, that point will also be on the line. Down 2, backwards 3. And so I can graph a line connecting all of those points. So what happens if my slope isn't a fraction? What if it's not two numbers, one over the other? What if I have the equation such as y equals 2x plus 4? So if the slope is 2, I'm still going to start out at this plus 4, so I'll still start at my starting point. But what happens is you treat this like a fraction, but any whole number can be turned into a fraction by putting it over 1. So now it's a rise 2, run 1. So from this point, you're going to rise 2, but run 1. There's a point. Rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. And that will give you enough idea to make your line. Now notice it got steeper. And the farther away from 0 it gets, the steeper your line will be. The closer to 0, the more level, the more flat it's going to be. So we also talk about if a slope has a positive number, it's going to move up and over to the right. So any positive slope will go up as you go over. So that'll be a positive slope. Again, if that slope gets closer to 0, then you're not going to move it at all. It's going to be a flat horizontal line. If it's a negative, you're going to go down as you move forward to the right. So that's negative. And the last one is called undefined. Now, undefined is straight up and down. It's completely vertical. What do the slopes look like? When you solve this slope for a horizontal line, you get a 0 over some number. So in this case, we had a 3 minus 3, which is plus, which is 6, 0 over 6. In this case, undefined, if you put it in the same formula, you will get minus 2 minus 3 over minus 2 minus minus 2, which equals minus 5 over 0. So you get a 0 on the bottom. That's your undefined. You can't divide by 0. If you're looking at lines, how do I remember this? I remember a little snowboarder dude. Little snowboarder dude really can't snowboard on a flat level 0 slope. However, if you're snowboarding down this slope, which is undefined, it's kind of undefined if you're going to live or die. If it's only a couple foot drop, you'll be okay. However, if it's a couple thousand foot drop, I think that's the end of the road. So it's undefined what's going to happen next. So little snowboarder dude helps me keep those straight. The next thing you need to know is about parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines have the exact same slope. So if the line over here is 1/2, the slope on this line also has to equal 1/2. When lines are perpendicular, they're opposite reciprocals of each other. So opposite reciprocals of each other, if this line coming up here, if M2 is 2 over 3, then slope down, to be the opposite reciprocal, this slope will have to be M is negative, because opposite, and reciprocal is 3 over 2. So opposite reciprocals of each other. Good luck. Hope this helps.